Joining me now to discuss all things NFL is my brother. He's a Hall of Fame wide receiver. All he did was catch touchdown passes, but that's not all he did in life. He just got back from London. Prior to that, he was in Paris, at Paris. But the wife wanted to go to Paris, so he went to Paris, and then he went to London, and then he called me from London bragging about the Vikings when they had intercepted Aaron Rodgers not once but twice, acting like he was going to get blown out of the building, and then I ain't hear from him when the game got scary close, by the way. I'm talking about the one and only Cris Carter. What's up, CC? What's going on, bro? What's up, man?
It's good, man. It's good. I'm all for the Vikings win, but I didn't think that we starting to retire coaches now. I mean, I didn't think, beating up on the Jets like that. I didn't think that the end result would be that Robert Saleh would lose his job.
How shocked were you that Woody Johnson decided to let go of Saleh just 5 games into the season?
I mean, very shocked. If you look at the Johnson's record as far as with the Jets the last 25 years, now, that track record is not good, but at least from a coaching standpoint, even the worst coaches they've had, none of them they fired this early in the season or early in the season. So it lets you know that they are definitely not satisfied with the product. And they do believe, regardless of what we think, that this team might have a chance. That's the only reason why you would fire a coach with Aaron Rodgers healthy and you only being 2-3. And if you beat Buffalo next Monday night, you're tied for first in your division. So they feel like they can still salvage this season.
Well, you're damn right they got a chance. First of all, they got an elite defense. Secondly, and more importantly, you still got Aaron Rodgers. The Buffalo Bills isn't looking great over the last 2 weeks or so. We know what happened with Miami since Tua's gone down. We're looking at the rest of the AFC. There are people there who could be had. Even Kansas City, 5-0, still look vulnerable because most of their games was tight before they ramrodded New Orleans on Monday night. But let me get a bit personal here. Did you think Saleh deserved to be fired? And do you believe that Aaron Rodgers had absolutely nothing to do with him being fired?
Well, I think both of those things are probably true. First of all, you're not going to fire a head coach without consideration from a 40-year-old veteran quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. Like when I decided to leave Green Bay, we're in partnership. Like we're trying to bring a Super Bowl to the Jets. But I'm going to look at all the personnel decisions Aaron Rodgers had a hand in. Now, because those decisions weren't good, last year he wants a slot receiver, goes after one of his former slot receivers there in Green Bay, Randall Cobb. Randall Cobb was washed up. Like he didn't have no good football left in him. And if you look at what he's doing now, Alan Lazard, I watched him the other night in London. He's not that explosive as you would think for a 6'5", 225-pound wide receiver. So Aaron Rodgers has played the role in the personnel. He played the role in the offensive coordinator being there. So now you just want me to close my eyes and my ears, everything I've ever observed in my life, to think that he didn't have anything to do with the coach being gone? That I would be a little naive to think that.
And I'm just saying, man, where's my brother that's like, come on, man. I don't see that guy today. You look a little mellow. You know what I'm saying? You was in London and stuff like that, flying overseas and shit. Might be a little jet lag. You looking a little mellow today. I'm just wondering. You seem a bit nicer than I thought you was going to be about this subject.
Well, the thing about it is I realized that you can't have two yelling brothers on the show. So I come in with the information. Like, these are facts. The Jets are going to do what they want to do. But you also now, you're trying to judge an organization that is not good at football. I mean, all the things that they've done, general manager through the years, drafting players through the years, like they didn't look like a Super Bowl caliber team, regardless of what the owner thinks about them. But when you look at how bad the offenses have been with Robert Saleh as the head coach, but you can't be encouraged by Nathaniel Hackett, by what he did those last 2 years in Green Bay, what he did with Denver, and what he's done with the Jets. So for me, I'm going to keep the coach because I don't believe that there's a solution in the building, especially being that close and having very good personnel that the Jets do have very good personnel.
Before I ask you this question about Aaron Rodgers, and I get off this subject, I'd be remiss in neglecting to play sound from Aaron Rodgers. He appeared on the Pat McAfee show on ESPN around a little bit after 12 noon today. And listen to what Aaron Rodgers had to say on the Pat McAfee show. Check it out before I ask you my question.
I would love to offer you the floor to kind of explain how yesterday went down, your thoughts on it all, and how you think we got to this point that we're at with the New York Jets organization in 2024.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday was a day that reminds you of the simple fact that all of us who played know all too well, and that's that it's a tough business. It's a beautiful profession. It's incredible. It's done so much for our lives, but it's also a really tough business. I love Coach Saleh. We have a very solid relationship. We have since, I met him in 2021 and had a nice conversation when they came and visited us for joint practices. He was a big reason why I came to the Jets. I felt like the team, was a solid team. Had a relationship with Coach Hackett, obviously, and I really liked Coach Saleh. As far as any of the ridiculous allegations out there, I'm not going to spend more than one sentence in response to it, and that is that I resent any of those accusations because they're patently false. And it's interesting the amount of power that people think that I have, which I don't. But I love Robert, and it was, one of those days yesterday.
See, this. Excuse my language, CC. This is the shit that pisses me off about Aaron Rodgers. Now, we know who's the brother that coined him. He's a bad man. That would be me. Damn it, I was accused of having a man crush on this brother because I got that much love for him. I think he's one of the greatest throwers of the game of football has ever seen, okay? But I hate when he does that, all right? You're not going to dignify the response. You're not going to lie. I mean, you have nothing to say. You love it that people think you have that amount of power. Well, what the hell is Nathaniel Hackett doing being there if you don't have that kind of power? What are you talking about? I mean, it makes no sense. You're one of the greatest quarterbacks who ever lived. They gave everything to get you to the franchise. And now it's ridiculous for us to surmise that if the coach was fired, that Woody Johnson didn't talk to you first before he made the decision, or somebody didn't talk to you first. See, how much do you believe Aaron Rodgers when he takes this position?
Well, this is what I do know. I'm not going to get into an open media debate with Aaron Rodgers. Did he have anything to do with it? I know this. If you play damn better, the coach don't get fired. So you do have something to do with the coach, being fired. And you had tremendous amount of input on everything going on inside the organization. To me, if Aaron Rodgers was open to a more open offense, a lot like Tom Brady was when he went to Tampa Bay, things weren't going smooth there. I think they had a bye week number 11. They finally got their offense together. They barely got into the playoffs and ended up going to the Super Bowl. Peyton Manning was a shell of himself at the end of his career in Denver. But you could see the third leadership and how much guys respected them, that they were able to get it done and win championships, even though they weren't playing well. Aaron Rodgers is not moving well in the pocket. Aaron Rodgers is not the athlete that he was. And just like Dan Marino and a lot of other great quarterbacks, it's either their scheme or their legs that start to fail them late in their career. And to me, A-Rod does not have that pop in his legs. He cannot get away from people the way he was. In the last 2 weeks, if you look at what Denver did to him and what the Vikings did to him, this is a copycat league, bro. They getting ready to blitz him. They're going to put 6 men up to the line of scrimmage. That's what Denver did, exactly what the Vikings did, and compile all those hits against Aaron Rodgers because that system, they don't have enough hots and breaks to be able to go against that type of system. So that was the problem in Green Bay, why the offense struggled the last 2 years, because Aaron wants to do what Aaron wants to do. So all these stubborn things, and by the way, Aaron Rodgers is not great at relationships. Who's he have great relationships with?
Oh, that's where we going now? That's where we going now. We going to go to Dear Abby route now. We going to go to Dear Abby right now. He's not great with relationships. The Jets ain't been in the playoffs since 2010. I don't give a damn about the relationship. They need to follow whatever the hell he says follow. I mean, they ain't got anything better to do. Their GM, Joe Douglas, is 29-59, top of the second worst record in the NFL since 2019. With Jacksonville, only the Carolina Panthers have been worse. You damn right they got to sit up there and listen to Aaron Rodgers.
When you decide that you're going Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback, you are getting ready to do things his way. And he's only got one way. You know, when you play that long in Green Bay, he got spoiled, just like Brett Favre did. And now this is what you get with the Jets. When you mismanage, who's going to be your quarterback? Who's going to be your offensive play caller? And you let him dictate those things. You are married to this bad result. Like, that's one thing about the NFL, man. There ain't no exit strategy. Like, there ain't no way to get out of this. Like, typically, we most get knocked out of this business. And typically, our great players end up going somewhere else playing in an unfamiliar jersey, playing in a way that we are unfamiliar with. And that's what I saw in London. He had on the green, but it was not Packer green. It had that Packer magic.
Let's go to your wheelhouse with Devonte Adams, wide receiver extraordinaire, once out of Las Vegas, has had a falling out by all reports with Antonio Pierce, the head coach who was the interim coach last year, got promoted to the head coach. 1 minute the players are looking to walk through a wall for him, run through a wall for him. Another year, just a season later, some players look like they want to throw him into the damn wall. What the hell is going on in Vegas, and what do you think about Devonte Adams wanting to leave?
Well, when you bring him there, he's the best receiver in football. And then once Derek Carr, because he came there for not just for the money, because Green Bay would have paid him that, other teams would have paid him that. He came there to play with his college buddy. But once Derek Carr leaves, if you don't have a competent quarterback there, when I talked to AP last year at the Super Bowl, we talked about what are you going to do? He's like, I'm going to get me a quarterback. We're like, bro, you better get you a quarterback because you're going to need it. And when you don't have a quarterback, wide receivers, myself included, we are some of the most selfish species in the world. And right now, you are seeing what wide receivers do. When you don't put us with a quarterback, it ain't about the money. We still want the stat, and we still want to win. But we can't win unless we can get our hands on the football. So we're very, very selfish. And that's what you are seeing now in the ultimate team sport. He's trying to look out what's for the best interest for himself personally, his own brand, and his own business.
Doesn't he need to be smarter? You stayed in Green Bay and then you wanted to leave because Aaron Rodgers couldn't make up his mind whether he wanted to keep playing or retiring. And then with the plethora of places you could have gone, you decide you want to go to Vegas just because your boy Derek Carr is there. And he was no all-world kind of quarterback. He was good, but he was no all-world kind of quarterback. You go into Vegas, Josh McDaniel is there. He ends up out of there. Derek Carr ends up out of there. And now you didn't want to play with the Garoppolos and the O'Connells and, of course, the Gardner Minshews of the world. So now that the situation is surmising for just a second that Devonte Adams has learned the error of his ways, where do you believe the ideal place is for him to go?
There is no ideal place for him. I believe the Saints.
What?
The Saints have wide receivers. Derek Carr's not going to get any better if they get another wide receiver. He goes to the Saints. Now they're crowded. Chris Olave, he's done well though. Like he's on his way to being a Pro Bowl player in the third year. Like, why would you bring another veteran in? They got the young receiver, the special teams player, made all pro last year. Shaheed, man, he's got blazing speed, number 22. Like, so they got a nice combination there. So then, if you bring in a veteran, sometimes you stunt the growth of younger players. I believe that you should go to the Jets. Him and Aaron Rodgers. Won't y'all finish this thing off?
Hell no. That is terrible. That is terrible. The Jets, listen, I like him with Garrett Wilson, Aaron Rodgers throwing him the football, but Aaron Rodgers hasn't been what we expected him to be in all likelihood because he's still recovering from that Achilles injuries. He's a station.
But who else do they have besides Garrett Wilson, bro?
I agree with that, but how about Kansas City? Rice is out for the year. Even though they ain't going to trade him within the division, I understand that. How about the Baltimore Ravens? How about Buffalo with Josh Allen?
Well, this is the thing, all right? There are many options that are better than the Jets. That being, to me, all those options, Kansas City, Buffalo, and Baltimore. But to me, I believe that he might be leaning towards a more personal relationship. I don't know Devonte Adams, but at this point in your career, you have most of the accolades. I would be trying to win. The best football coach,
right?
The best play caller, the best scheme is Andy Reid, and it's not even close whoever's second. So if I could get to Kansas City for less money and play with the magician in Mahomes and play with Andy Reid, because they still make football fun. Every time I watch them, the game looks fun, and they're in desperate need of a number one receiver because Travis Kelce at this age will not be able to do that for the length of the season. So they still need a number one receiver. So, yeah, I agree with you on that. But I don't know what makes Devonte Adams tick. To me, it was personal relationships. Kansas City is a no-brainer if he can get there.
How with the personal relationship? This ain't Dear Abby, man. You know what I'm saying? He ain't going to there to sit on a damn couch. You gotta play some football. The brother is too nice. He's too special to be thinking about them damn personal feelings. He need to get in the best winning situation and being with an elite quarterback where you know he gonna be able to put up digits because he got a quarterback that can give him the damn football. Speaking of extraordinary quarterbacks, it's young in his career. We only 5 games in. But this brother Jaden Daniels in the nation's capital. Commanders are 4-1. Yo, see, they could win the division, bro. What's their ceiling in your eyes? The way this brother's playing, complete 77% of his passes, 1,135 yards, 300 rush yards, only trailing Lamar Jackson. This brother's on another level right now. How far can you see the Commanders going this year?
Well, we always have 2 or 3 teams that come from nowhere in the league. And that's one of the things that makes the NFL special. The draft situation, where the worst teams are getting the best players coming from college football. Now, my scouting department, how can I get one of these great young quarterbacks? Because we got them coming into the league who can throw it better than ever and also be dual threats. How can I get them in my building? Well, the number one thing you need people to be able to make mistakes. You need certain people to be able to fall in love with the other girl before you get to the dance floor. You ask her to dance and, oh, he already took her out. And come to find out in 10, 15 years, man, he made a mistake, bro. And that's what you have in Washington. I believe Dan Quinn, and especially in the second time around as a head coach, he's one of the most well-respected defensive minds out there. But as a coach, he relates to the players and what they're trying to do. I remember doing TV and going in to interview him before the game, and the reception of the players in Atlanta and their whole vibe that they had around the organization, that if he can get in another team and get him a good quarterback, and that's what they have in Jaden Daniels. Go back to his freshman year at Arizona State with Herm Edwards. He was already a dual threat then. You could see, man, if he gained some weight, he could be special. And then getting a couple of years in the SEC, a lot like Joe Burrows, the same thing. Man, Washington, they got it right, but also you got to get a little lucky. Carolina, 2 years ago, they decided they're going to take the guy from Bama, C.J. Stroud. This year, we have Caleb Williams. Bears fell in love with him, but the best player in this year's draft is Jaden Daniels.
Let me give you the last word. I mean, I don't feel like it. It is my damn show, but with you and your damn Vikings and stuff like that, waving your purple towels and wearing your purple, warm-up shirt and all this other stuff. They are 5-0. I can't front. Brian Flores he's doing that thing. He's showing that he's a worthy head coaching candidate in this NFL. We all know he wanted Justin Herbert instead of Tua Tagovailoa in Miami, and that precipitated his downfall near South Beach. But it's a new day. And I didn't expect this from the Minnesota Vikings. O'Connell, I give him a lot of credit. He looks like he's a hell of a head coach. Brian Flores is clearly a hell of a defensive coordinator. They're 5-0 heading into their bye week. What's the realistic expectation for this team in terms of how far they can go? Last question to you.
Well, because now we've been through at least a third of the season almost. I mean, you can really start to see teams with certain traits and identity. Like, okay, what is this team? And we know they're a defensive dominant team that has multiple pressured looks. They're leading the league in sacks. I think they got 11 or 12 interceptions. Like those types of things create a theme and a vibe within inside of a team. And now, yes, we know we have Sam Darnold, still only 27, but he's still got a lot of stars from his past with the Jets and other teams in the NFL. So he played his absolute worst game against a good defense and the Jets, and we were still able to win. A lot like Kansas City has done. 2 of their 5 wins have been in an ugly fashion. So you
complaining yourself, you comparing yourself to Kansas City, the 2-time reigning defending Super Bowl champions. That's what we doing now. That's what we doing.
Well, Tiger Woods said, "I won the golf tournament with my C game." The Vikings went to London and they won with their C football game. Sam Darnold's going to have to play better, but man, Kevin O'Connell had dudes wide open that he was missing. And that defensive pressure and the ability to turn people over, that's going to be a constant this year. They got a top flight special team. Kicker is good from 54 in. They got a good schedule. They got a home field advantage. And yes, man, it's okay. I talked to the equipment guy. I told him you're a large right now. You're a little fitter than you was last year. He saw you last year and thought your face was fat, thought you was extra large. I was like, no, I saw the brother in no, dude, and slimmed up, tightened up. We're going to get you some large Vikings gear. So by December, when it comes around, you won't look like you just getting on the bandwagon and everything. You already have some Viking stuff ready.
See, that's some bullshit you talking right. That's some bullshit you talking right there. Because the next thing you're going to do is you're going to say to me, I want you to get to Minnesota. But guess what? I won't be able to wear the shit because it's too damn cold in Minnesota. One of the coldest states in the country. I've been in Minnesota before, okay? I don't even understand how people state it. I'm still wondering how lucky are y'all to have Anthony Edwards, because he should have wanted to leave that place, just because of the cold weather alone. One of my best friends ever, my man Boris Battle, works for the Minnesota Timberwolves, right? We were college teammates together at Winston-Salem State. Has two beautiful children. Years ago, he had introduced me to them. My first words out of his mouth was, how could you do this to them? How could you have them living in Minnesota in this cold-ass weather?
Hey, bro, I went up there and had a great career. Great things are happening up there. Maybe Stephen A. Smith, the worldly guy, global. Come on, man. You need to start thinking outside the box, man. You can't be geographically, big city. Now you're just a big city. Only if you ain't in LA. I know you're in LA right now, laying back. I know you got the crib down in Miami. I know you like to call yourself a New Yorker and everything, but listen, bro, there's a big part of the Midwest and upper Midwest. They playing some good football up there. Don't miss out on the 24 football season because you got this ideology, all these teams got to be from Philly or Dallas or somewhere like that, man. We playing good ball up there and rest now.
CC.
I hope the Vikings fans get me DMs.
CC, where you been living for the last 35 years?
In Florida, but I made my bread up in Minnesota, man.
Yeah, in Florida. You understand? You in and out of Minnesota inside of 24 hours, and you going to give me a damn lecture over here over the digital airways. You know your ass don't stay there more than 24 hours. So why'd you even start it? Just stop it.
Can you let me turn the camera towards the palm trees, dog? I'm not lying.
Don't do it. Don't do it to me. Don't do it to me. Love you, bro. Appreciate you, man. I'll talk to you next week. Thanks a lot, man.
For sure. Okay.
The one and only CC. The one and only Cris Carter right here with Stephen A. Stephen A. Smith Show over the digital airwaves of YouTube and, of course, iHeartRadio. You heard his perspective about all things NFL. Had to get it from him, no doubt about that, so I can be finished with all of that. I've heard the last word. I'm giving it to him. He's got the last word on that topic.